I need to pull back a little bit.
Well, to quote Jason, he wasn't there to make friends. Hello, and welcome back to Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 2001 Adult Swim animated series, Home Movies. My name is Tim, and I am obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
My name is Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Let's do this. This is Home Movies Season 1, Episode 6, titled Director's Cut. The original air date on this one was September 2nd, 2001 on Adult Swim. This episode was written by Bill Bradis, Brendan Small, Lauren Bouchard, Melissa Barton, Galsky, H. John Benjamin, and Janine DiTullio. The synopsis for this episode, as per Home Movies Fandom Wiki, Dwayne writes a rock opera based on Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis. While Jason and Melissa like the project, Brendan would rather do his other film, Louie Louie, instead. That's the synopsis of the episode. We are going to jump into our breakdown, but first, let's take a little side trip to the Cozy Creative Corner. This is where we give a shout out to one thing that we're watching, consuming, creating, just a little something that we're dealing with creatively. So who wants to go first on this Creative Corner?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I have been consuming TikTok trends, and my favorite painting TikTok trend is when you either get a group of people or it's like you and your partner and you pass the painting back and forth every 10 minutes and then you end up with two paintings that you both worked on together. Or the other one that I love is that they paint a portrait of the person sitting across from each other and then there's like a reveal of how they painted the person sitting across from them.
Did you see the one where the girl, her reaction was just to laugh so hard at...
Oh yeah, that's most of them. They just lose their minds. And I just really want to do that with, someone.
And anyone? All of them?
I'm staring at Tim.
I know.
I'm going to feel so bad because you're way more artistically talented than I am as far as that medium. So yours is going to look amazing and mine's going to look like a child.
That's not true.
No, it's going to look like Tim painted it, which is the good
child.
Tim the child. I still have a painting I think is really terrible from 2017. I still have it hanging up just because of what it represents, because that is what art is. It doesn't have to be necessarily the most appealing, even though I do agree with Tim that Adele is a much better artist painter than I.
No.
But I would definitely love to do a paint night. I've been begging for that, especially because my friend Vic used to do this thing called Make and Bake when they just got together, got high, and everyone would make something. I would love that to be the thing where we all passed it around.
That would be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that at the apartment.
Oh, that'd be so dope. That'd be so dope. It's kind of well, I also wanted to do that for, I guess, shout out Nate Punk and Nonstop, because we do the paint series type thing where we get together, just talk, and then paint. I wanted to do that on the door thing that we wanted to do. I don't know if we'll get a chance to do that. I want to, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, I love painting, even though I'm not the greatest at it. It's just fun. Painting's really fun.
It's so therapeutic.
It is. I mean, the first paint episode I did with Nate, I completely choked on my painting, and it looks terrible. And Nate's reaction to it, on camera, was him clearly trying not to hurt my feelings.
Was there a theme?
Yeah, we had to choose our favorite place, even real or fictional. I chose fictional. I was going to do Twin Peaks, and I screwed up so bad because I never worked with watercolor, and I just made it just super red and white.
Watercolor is one of the hardest painting mediums.
Mm-hmm. I learned that very quickly, but I redeemed myself on paint too. I think I did a lot better on paint too. And then Tim, I've seen the one painting you've done.
I did a painting?
Oh wait, no, I confused that with the one that you have hanging up. That's not the one that you've done. That's the one I think it was your grandfather.
Oh yeah, the one at the apartment. That's my grandfather's.
Yeah.
And his main medium was watercolor.
Yeah.
He was very, very talented.
I do really like that painting. I was actually gonna ask if I could put that in the Ego Museum.
Yes.
Spoilers, but yeah.
Would you like to go next?
Oh yeah, I forgot we were doing. I thought we were just talking about art for a second. All right, my bad. Okay, so
weed.
A little bit of context for this, because watching home movies, the show is based around this young filmmaker. The first movie that I watched that really inspired me to become a filmmaker, I think I've talked to you about it like a few different times. American Movie, which is the documentary about a guy from Wisconsin, super small town dude who's like an artistic soul, and he spends the entire movie trying to make this one short film. And it's such a, at the time, the first viewing I had was right before like 2016. I watched it and it inspired me to start working on Doorman, which is a movie that I'm still fucking working on. It's like 7-8 years later. And I was like, down in the dumps about like just creative endeavors and just like how hard it is to make a lot of stuff. So I was like, I need to pick me up. I'm gonna watch American Movie again. And I watched it and I had the complete opposite reaction that I had when I was first inspired. It was like the world had flipped upside down, and it was like it inspired me, but now I also watched it with the eyes of someone who's been around a lot of filmmakers and made a bunch of stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be this guy. I really don't want to be this guy.
That's so interesting.
It's so weird. It was so night and day, because the first time I was like, oh, I can't wait to be that. I want to like make a movie with my friends, and then 8 years later, rewatching it, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's an asshole.
I don't want to make a movie with my friends.
He's just, because he's treating all his friends terribly is the thing. And they're just like all trying to do it. And I saw myself in it so badly that I was like, I need to pull back a little bit.
Well, to quote Jason, he wasn't there to make friends. He's there to make movies.
Hell yeah.
And this is one of the, not to go into it because I want you to do your creative corner, but this episode I was very much like looking at it from watching American Movie and looking at this and seeing how Brennan reacted to things. I was like, I see it now.
Well, I will round out this creative corner with my recommendation for the week. There is a gentleman. He's a tattoo artist in DeKalb. His name is Chris May. He dabbled in comedy a little bit, which is where I met him. But where I think he really the first thing that kind of put him on the map, so to speak, was Chris started a YouTube show called Scabbed Up Comedy, where he would have comedians on who would get a random tattoo in a random place, and while they were tattooed, they'd have to perform comedy.
Oh.
Yes.
That's fun.
So that's kind of the project that started everything. And then if you watch the episodes, they get more and more like big, like idea wise. And there's now green screen and sets and characters. And so by doing this, it kind of gave Chris this realization that like, oh, I want to do something with all this. Him and his buddy created this show. It's on YouTube. It's called Worm Drive. It's on YouTube as, I believe it's Worm Drive the Show, or if you just search Worm Drive. But it's actually a space choose your own adventure where at the end of each, clip, they pretty much give you two options. And the only way I can really describe this show is like if Tim and Eric were allowed to direct an episode of Star Wars. It is just the perfect amount of Tim and Eric into this like goofy space adventure. It just works. And one of my friends was in the first episode. I ran into him at an open mic and I was asked, and he just told me how this has just been such a like passion project for Chris. So Worm Drive the Show on YouTube. It's a choose your own adventure kind of space drama, very comedic, very goofy. When you watch it, I am kind of in awe in the fact that he built the set himself. He built the ship himself. He's doing a majority of the effects himself. A lot of it, he's just like, and he's just doing it, learning it by doing it. So it's a very interesting project. I enjoy the comedy in it. I enjoy it. It's such a big project with the choose your own adventure aspect. I heard he filmed like hours and hours and hours of content, some of which people might never seen because they'll never like go down that quote unquote path of the story. So Worm Drive the Show on YouTube, choose your own adventure. It's very, very well done. And you can see the passion in the project. So
I would love to watch it, and then to also talk to him because that sounds amazing.
He just posted not too long ago. I saw he reposted. Someone made a reaction video to like the video itself, and he was all about it. He posted it. So yeah, he's a good dude, very creative, very talented. You know, he's a tattoo artist, so he kind of just took a lot of those artistic skills and built them into sets and props and stuff like that. So very cool.
I mean, maybe if we wanted to do like a fun episode, we could, because you've seen all these episodes so many times, maybe we go to his set, you get a tattoo done while we watch home movies and do the podcast.
Yeah, no. I did talk to him at a show. My sister has been on the show. A couple other comedians I know have been on the show. I don't have any tattoos. And the whole thing is you for the one my sister was on, she literally spun one wheel to say what the tattoo was and another wheel to see where the tattoo goes. So there's a chance you have to get tattooed like in your armpit or on top of your foot or on your knee. Like a lot of the places are like places people don't traditionally like to get tattooed. So I was like, dude, I'm not. My sister got a donkey on her knee. That was her tattoo.
That's your donk knee.
Yeah, it's her badonka knee. But yes, Worm Drive the Show. Please check it out. You know what else we should check out is this freaking episode of Home Movies, dogs.
Hell yeah.
Let's get it.
I have so many like little tidbits for this episode alone. Because first of all, I've probably said this a million times. This is our first Adult Swim episode. And not only is this the first Adult Swim episode of Home Movies, this was the first episode of anything to air on Adult Swim. So Home Movies was the first show in the first block of Adult Swim.
So this is this is the OG Adult Swim show.
Yes. So episode 6 is the first episode that Adult Swim picked up for the season, and it's also the very first thing they aired on their very first block on September 2nd, 2001.
You know what else happened in September of 2001? My birthday.
That's right.
I was going to say.
So
you were born in 2001? Dang.
No, I just celebrated a birthday in 2001.
Oh, okay.
So with it being the first Adult Swim episode, this is the first episode with Janine DeTulio voicing Paula Small. This episode, she had very few lines. I think it was just the one scene with Brendan in the basement, but that's her first one. And I don't know if you noticed when Paula Poundstone does Paula Small, she wore like gray sweats, you know, a gray sweatshirt and gray sweatpants, the kind of outfit that would make a man want to buy you another outfit.
Yes.
This Paula wears like a red blouse. She's a little more put together, I think.
I didn't even notice her for she came in and she started talking. I didn't even think about the fact that this is a new person that's voicing.
The voices are so similar. Mm-hmm. And I think she watched the first 5 to kind of get a idea for what they were going with for the character.
I'm glad it's similar. I think I don't know. I've only seen the one scene, but it might just be a seamless transition.
Yeah. I feel like until I really looked into Home Movies, I never really pieced it together that they were 2 different voice actors for Paula. This too, this was also the first episode with an actual beginning to end script. They still let the actors improv a bit, but this was the first episode with an actual script. So that's another. I thought the pacing of this episode was great. It just really kept moving. I didn't think there was any like filler or weird, unnecessary scenes or dialogue. It was very well paced.
What was the name of this episode?
Director's Cut.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to write that down real quick. Also, this is the first doodle that I've put in my notes here of Dwayne, and I'm not a huge fan because I forgot he was wearing a hat like halfway through I was drawing it. So director's cut on that. The first thing I said when the episode started was, that looks like his penis. And that's what I wrote down in my notes.
I think people have made comments about that because so it opens with Coach McGurk. He's like tracing his veins and he's holding his leg in a way. It looks like a
his
very
penis.
Big penis.
Dang, I didn't even make that connection.
Really?
Perverts.
Yeah,
yes, 100%.
Definitely a guy thing, I guess.
It looked so fleshy. It was like it
was a leg.
pink. It was very pink.
But it also oh, you know what? This hits in a later episode. I'm sorry. So good thing I didn't mention it. But it also shows that they are wearing like footsies, like footsie pajamas. He has his entire foot out
For free.
for his leg.
What are them dogs doing?
So initially they wanted to do a Tron rock opera based off the movie Tron. Definitely could not get the rights to that. So they go with Franz Kafka's Metamorphosis because It is in public domain. So they don't need permission. They don't need to pay anything. They can just use it. At this point, they were at about a 4-week turnaround per episode, which I think for, even the basic animation, that's a pretty quick turnaround.
4 weeks, I don't think I could do anything major in 4 weeks. I couldn't turn around anything.
And especially because, is it a later episode? Oh gosh, yeah, it's the next one. They go a little more in depth as far as like the production of an episode, and holy shit, dude, they do it weird.
In the commentary?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that next episode. But this episode, they did mention a 4-week turnaround. And then Brendan and Lauren Bouchard really dunked on John Benjamin on the audio commentary, saying that dude like never reads the scripts. Like he shows up day of and was like, what am I doing? What's this? What's going on now? So yeah, they were dogging on him for that, which was pretty funny.
Well, I was going to say, because this is the first episode with like a script, I was going to ask you, but like, did you notice any kind of like difference as far as pacing?
I definitely felt like it flowed a lot better. It wasn't kind of like, especially comparing it to the very first episode. The very first episode felt like it was kind of all over the place, and this one definitely had a better flow for sure.
Yeah.
I just noticed so many more scenes and how quick the dialogue was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like the first 5 with the retro scripting and especially like letting Paula Poundstone just kind of go off and do her thing. There were so many scenes that were like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue from Paula, either talking to Brendan or on the phone or whatever, that it's like it didn't fit in with another scene. So it kind of like just awkwardly fades into this. She says 2 things and it fades out. Like it was a really weird pacing. But yeah, this one had terrific pacing. So yeah, let's jump into the episode itself. The opening scene, like you said, McGurk is weirdly tracing his veins on his leg. Thankfully, his leg. I mean, they're on Adult Swim, but yeah, no, still his leg. It's so gross. He's giving names to his varicose veins. Brendan is like, yeah, maybe that's not the color to do this in. And Coach is like, oh, so you're saying highlighter? It was a bad choice. At that point, Brendan's kind of asking him like, yo, how come you're not coaching? And that's when he says, well, Drew's got it under control.
Drew.
I don't want any spoilers on this, but Drew seems like a character that would be a one-off type character.
Drew is 100% a one-off character.
Oh, so he never comes back.
No.
I'm glad I did not draw him then.
Yeah, that's okay.
This was your one chance.
That's true.
Larry Murphy, I believe, a comedian, voices Drew. It's pretty obvious from the beginning that kids like Drew significantly more than they like the coach. They're like carrying Drew off. I don't know if you caught when they like carry Drew off and they're like, oh yeah, they all fall. One of them's like, my spine.
I just heard Brennan go, they know his name. They definitely know his name.
Yeah. The coach asked why they don't carry him off the field. And Brendan said they tried to once, but he's too big. And the coach is immediately like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, too drunk. I meant too drunk.
That's better.
Yeah.
You should at least still try when I'm drunk.
Yeah. He's like, I am. Always. But that shouldn't stop you.
I quoted the coach as saying, my God, I'm hideous. And then I wrote, mood.
Yeah, he kind of has a moment of self-reflection after coloring in his varicose veins.
Also, when they showed his foot for the first time, that definitely didn't look like a foot. That was like a weird, like triangle pizza.
Yeah, it was like a doll foot.
Yeah,
it was like no toes, no definition, just like a
stump.
Yeah, so someone should not judge me for thinking that was a penis. I was like, that is a penis in this world if I've seen one.
I feel like there was a part in the commentary, maybe an offhanded comment by H. John Benjamin, like, what is that? What is that he's holding there? Next we have Brendan is talking to a random teammate about an idea for a movie that we will see come up later in the episode, a movie called Louis Louis, based on the fictional meeting between Louis Pasteur and Louis Braille, plays on the absurdity that 2 French inventors were both named Louis. Hilarious. Melissa approaches and has a script from Dwayne, and Brendan is very hesitant to read the script, kind of being a dick a little bit.
A little bit of a dick.
I've had 2 people hand me scripts before, and they both were filled with slurs, so I understand his hesitancy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But then again, I'm always so excited to read anybody's work, but the fact that he's like, nah.
Yeah, he's given a lot of pushback. He's saying he can't look at anything until he signs a release, which is just 8-year-old bullshit for like, dude, I'm not going to do that.
He did say something about how I needed full creative control, and that just 100% reminded me of my brother growing up.
Yeah.
Doing home movies with him, and it's just like any kind of input I had, and he's like, no, I am the director
I'm the
here.
director.
You are merely a child.
Yeah.
But what was your input?
I don't remember. Decades ago.
I would have definitely loved to hear that conversation between you and Jack.
I'm sure it's somewhere on the tape.
It was probably something like, maybe we don't cover me in leaves. And he's like, no, child.
No, you don't understand. This is Poison Oak.
Yeah.
That's the significance of the
That's
plot.
what makes it funny. Plays out in this episode and a lot of other episodes, but Brendan's creative control and the fact that, you know, being a director, I think definitely helps that, but also owning a camera definitely plays a big factor into his need for creative control. Brendan does look at the script, and it is a rock opera based on Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka.
Did we quote the part where Melissa's talking and Brendan just goes, shh?
And she's like, don't shush me. Yeah. Love that. Love a queen that stands up for herself.
It's so weird to me. We're 6 episodes in. Man shushing a woman has happened multiple times in the show already. Yeah. But you're right. Melissa is like very like, dude, no, you do not shush
love
me.
her. We love Melissa.
Yes.
Melissa's doing really good as far as the rating system is going.
Yeah.
Brendan's doing very bad.
Where's Jason?
I got it there. He's in here somewhere.
So obviously we all know, but for those who don't, Metamorphosis is a novel written by Franz Kafka in 1915. It's one of his better known works. It tells the story of a salesman who wakes up one morning to find himself inexplicably transformed into a huge insect and struggles to adjust with his new condition. The thing with this piece is it's very widely discussed among literary critics, and boy howdy do they have very differing interpretations of what it is and what it means and everything like that. I personally just think the absurdity of introducing a rock opera based on Franz Kafka into a show about an 8-year-old making movies is pretty funny. But man, and we are going to play it later, that song fucking slaps.
I was going to say I think that was, I won't get into it. I kind of wish we had the possibility of bringing a guest on to this episode. Mm-hmm. I really wish he was, because my cousin Ed is obsessed with Metamorphosis. Like, we've had so many conversations about that book.
And it's so funny too, because I have a friend who I asked if they would like to be on an episode, and they immediately were like, yes. And I said, well, which episode? If you got to choose any episode, and he's like, the one with the Franz Kafka rocket. And I was like, dude, we're literally recording that like coming up. And, unfortunately, scheduling wise, he couldn't make it. But
there's many opinions about Metamorphosis that have been discussed.
Yes, I did a very shallow dive into Wiki about it, and yeah, the
care to share?
I've got no opinion on it.
I wish he was here, because he's got. It's like this idea of this. He's transformed into an insect, but all he cares about is going to work. He's like, this is going to get in the way of everything, and he's just so worried about going to work. And in Ed's opinion, it's like this idea of, you don't care about yourself, you care about the work that you're doing.
Is this like commentary on the corporate grind set?
Yes, exactly. That's how Ed views it a little bit more.
I guess my view of it is so weirdly they were trying to get the rights to Tron. They end up using this instead because it was in public domain. But holy shit, for the first episode of the Adult Swim run, and like the literal metamorphosis of the show of becoming this disjointed, kind of thing into like a solid script, a good story beginning to end, great pacing. I think it was a very appropriate rock opera to introduce into the first episode of the Adult Swim run.
I also just like Franz Kafka. I see a lot of quotes. I don't read much of his stuff, but I love his quotes. I think I might flub this one. I think it's like, I realized the world was a costume party, and I was ashamed because I showed up wearing my own face.
Oh, shit. Dude.
Yeah, I think I definitely fucked up that line, but still.
Sounded pretty good to me, because I've never heard it.
I appreciate it. Sorry, we cut right back to seeing Dwayne and the whole crew.
Melissa tells Brendan what the script is about, and Brendan is just like immediately like, no. And then we cut directly into the music. Do we?
Yes.
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
to play the music. Okay, so we go from Brendan saying no to now. I don't know. So I guess I'm taking this as like they are presenting what they have so far for the rock opera to Brendan to see, gauge his interest in the project. Yeah, we go immediately from Brendan saying no to...
Be careful if you get him pissed. Franz Kafka. He'll smite you with metaphor fists. Right now he can. He's just a man. A warrior of words taking a stand. He grew up very poor. His feelings to the core. Born in 1883, died in 1924.
Hell yeah.
He is Franz Kafka.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there.
Do we know who does the voice of Dwayne's?
It's Brendan. It's
Oh,
Brendan
hell
Small.
yeah.
Oh.
Brendan Small does the voice of Dwayne. He does the singing. He does the music for the most part. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna say on that when he pulled out, he will show you his metamorph fists. I didn't catch that the first time. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I like the part where they're just like breaking down like the year he was born, and he died. Born in 1883. Yeah.
We didn't start the fire.
Yeah, they're playing this, and this is, I'm assuming, yeah, Brendan's like filming this. They're kind of showing off the premise, essentially. Brendan calls cut, and dude, he does that super condescending thing where he's like, great job, Dwayne. Great job, band. You guys are great. I don't know how you do it. You're so talented. I don't know how you're doing what you're doing.
Anyway,
Yeah. And then, but just flat out says he doesn't think a rock opera about Franz Kafka's metamorphosis is the best idea. Melissa is kind of like, oh, you're going to rewrite the script? And he's like, no, I'm just not going to do it. He's like, I'm going to take a pass. And she's like, you're going to rewrite it? And she's like, no, I have no interest in doing it. And I like this part because he's like, no, I'm not going to rewrite. I'm just not going to do it. And then Dwayne responds, he's like, 2, 3, 4.
Was it a pass on it, or was it like a pass through? Like he wanted to rewrite the script.
He said he was going to take a pass on it. Melissa assumed he meant a pass on this, like take a pass at the script to rewrite it.
Okay.
And Brendan's like, no, I'm just straight up not
There's a
going to do it.
There's a shot where the camera's looking at Brendan, and he's just like holding the camera up and just staring away. He's like, mm-hmm.
He is like very disinterested in what is going on in this movie that he is.
I expected more dialogue from Dwayne on this one.
We get almost none.
Yeah.
Not until the very end. But I think that plays on kind of the character of Dwayne. I feel like at 14, I was kind of like a very quiet, mumbly, like, I don't know.
I definitely thought that Dwayne was going to be like more fleshed out, because the second I saw him on there, and then Melissa was handing the script, I was like, oh, it's a Dwayne episode. And then just, I guess he really likes metamorphosis. There's no explanation as why.
I really loved when Brendan is having a conversation with Dwayne in the sandbox. Dwayne's got the bug costume on. And you can literally see like a little hair, and then you see like a kind of upward line for a nose and a downward line for a mouth. And that's it. And at one point, Brendan's even like, I'm having a hard time reading you right now.
His nose looked very angry. That's how you could tell.
Yeah, exactly. The next scene, we're at the soccer game with Drew coaching. Classic. The kid in green gets hit in the head with a soccer ball, and then it goes into the goal. Did you guys catch that? I think, Marcin, I think you were writing.
Yeah, I did.
I definitely. Oh, you were looking at me while I was writing. You're like, did you catch that?
So much of home movies is the happening in the background shit.
Yeah. Oh, wait, was there a gnome this episode?
There was.
Not only there was 2.
I only saw one.
I didn't see none.
We'll see.
Oh, shit, dude.
I'll give you this much. They were both in the rock opera.
So, yeah, I think I saw the last one
Yeah.
towards the end.
Yep. There's one. Actually, I think it's coming up here pretty soon.
How often does that little bit with the soccer ball going into the goal happen more than once?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually kind of a thing that's part of an episode down the line that we'll get into once we get there. Oh, you know what? I think we just passed one because it's part of the rock opera where Dwayne is singing, right? Dwayne is singing, and I think it's the part where he's like, I'm a lonely German. Dwayne is standing in front of a bed, and he's playing and singing, and then on the bed is a gnome with Dwayne's clothes on. I think that's supposed to be like Franz before the metamorphosis.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was the first gnome, was laying in Dwayne's bed during that part of the rock opera. Where after the kid in green gets hit in the face with a soccer ball, goes into the goal. Drew is like so supportive of the kids. And coach is like, McGurk is like, yeah, why don't you sing a song about it, Drew? Like, he just totally like, I don't know, like mocking him. I don't know.
Jealous.
He definitely got really jealous. The second Brendan was like, yeah, I think we all like him a lot more than you.
Yeah.
Oh, we love him.
Yeah, we carry him off the field and we can do it with ease.
I love this part of the scene because Drew calls a huddle. He's like encouraging the kids to cheer for themselves. And at that point is when Drew is Coach McGurk is walking up and he's like, excuse me. And then he like picks up a kid by the scruff and he's like, excuse me, what does that mean?
Get out of my way.
It means get out of my way. And then like throws him down.
You've been there before with children, right?
I try to avoid children.
Yeah, I mean, same, but sometimes they don't listen when you say get out of my way.
Yeah, when I was in high school, there was weightlifting class for like anyone who was in a sport had to
Human performance, yeah.
weightlifting instead of gym. And the weightlifting coach would just scream, clear a path. And basically all the kids had to get to each side of the hallway to clear a path for them. So
When I worked at Statesville, it was make a hole.
Oh.
Make a hole.
Oh, when they used to do the hype stuff before each thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd all start dancing. I volunteered one time. It was great.
You did Hell's Gate.
I did do Hell's Gate. That was real fun. I dressed up as a doll. There's a lizard on a unicycle. It was a real great time. That's what I can tell you. Human performance, on the other hand, was not. I did not enjoy the fact that I had to do that.
Once you were in there for hours. You know?
Oh, I was at that point. I was working out for 6 hours a day. Because it was like 3 hours before, 3 hours after school, 2 hours before school, and then an hour of human performance. So it was like, damn,
Wow.
not a big fan of that. The coach just like clear a path.
yeah. Well, funny enough, apparently Coach McGurk rips a fart so nasty.
I didn't even hear a sound effect. Did you?
There was no sound
It
effect.
was silent but deadly.
It was. And he even makes a comment that he's on an all-protein diet.
I thought I lost my mind for a second. I was like, they're just walking away because they don't respect him. That's the bit. And then it's like, oh no, sorry, I smell really bad.
And then he put his head between his legs. Was he checking?
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
That's grosser than Coach gets an F. I thought he was looking at the kids leaving. He's like, where are you guys going? Like, I thought that's okay.
And he's sniffing his own butt.
Yeah. Not a fan of that.
Yeah. Pretty gross.
But if you're
behavior.
holding your penis in front of a child, then that's fine.
That was the first thing I brought up of this podcast. I was like, that's a penis. What is going on here? That was my first thing.
That's true. I retract.
Okay, good.
I think they've done something kind of like this before, but so Brendan's talking to Coach, and Coach is explaining how winning is actually bad. It's like dangerous because you win, you get cocky. When you get cocky, you get lazy. And when you get lazy, you get flabby, right? So he's like pretty much kind of trying to justify like why he's a better coach than Drew because they don't win, which is good.
I mean, it kind of sounds like that mindset where they say, soft men create hard times create hard men, and the cycle continues, and they're like, that we're living in hard times. Don't worry, guys, we're going to create hard men. It's like, that's not actually how it works, I don't think. That's all I could hear when he was saying that.
Yeah. But then the scene after that, it's Brendan, Jason, and Melissa talking, and they're expressing how much they want to do Kafka, and Brendan, almost like imitating Coach, is like, no, it's too easy. And if we do that, then we won't be hungry and we won't be thirsty and we won't. So he's like kind of unfortunately, he's like taking McGurk's, like, I don't know. He's almost mirroring him in a way that's like, oh no, don't do that.
Well, is he not the father figure for Brendan at this point?
That's true.
Very true.
Is that when the taste quote pops up? Because I did write that down.
Was the taste quote?
Once you taste it, it tastes you. That one? Is that like...
Was that did Coach say that, or was that?
Was it Coach who says that, or was it?
I think that is Coach.
Oh shit! Well,
No, it's okay. I can't remember if it's that scene with Coach or if it's the next one with Brendan saying that.
I was gonna say because the stuff with Jason and hot dogs, it just threw me off. So
Right, and that's when Brendan's getting frustrated
yeah,
because he's like, it's like race horses, it's like hot dogs, it's like
yeah. Did you know that hot dogs are made from horses? And I had to Google that. I think during it, I don't but no.
Yeah, Jason has a little ADHD, a little maybe.
I feel that.
He has a hard time staying on track, and especially whenever talk of food gets involved.
I feel that.
Only I can call a break. Okay, could you call a break? That was a good line. Jason's coming. Jason does have some good lines. I will give him. He's got some good lines.
It's happening.
It's only happening because Brendan was such an asshole in this.
Yeah.
I wrote down at some point, should I be grading Brendan instead? Because he was such an asshole.
Yeah, he's a little bully.
For whatever reason, we're back on set, and Brendan's taking another crack at Dwayne's project. Real quick, I just want to play the part of the Franz Kafka rock opera. Turning into a bug. Turn into a bug.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm turning into a bug. I see double what I see. I think I'm turning into a bug. I ain't got no self-esteem. I think I'm turning into a bug. Bet you $50 on my man. I'm a scholar. I'm turning into a bug. Mama like a daddy, like a baby, like a baby, like a turn into a bug. Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be Tim and Maya's first dance.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to be walking down the aisle to.
You better fucking pick it up. That's only 20 seconds.
I'm running, dude. Well, as fast as I can run in a bug costume.
I did say you could wear whatever you wanted to our wedding.
It's true. I got it in writing.
I was going to try to make the groomsmen wear capes.
Capes.
I want to bring back capes.
Capes are cool.
Capes are
They're
cool.
dramatic. You can turn corners, super fun.
Oh, the swoosh.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
if you got a long one that goes drapes over your shoulders and you just swoosh back and forth.
Do you remember Phantom of the Megaplex?
I do remember
and he
Phantom.
he had a big cape and he was running through the theater with his cape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was so spooky when he would do it too. I was like, oh, he's so scary.
Classic.
Bring back capes.
Bring back Phantom of the Megaplex.
It's still here. You mean bring back Monstober?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're watching Disney Channel.
I have no idea what 7 of those words even mean.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sheltered kids only
That's
watch
okay.
Disney Channel.
and Cartoon Network when they played Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Viewer
All right, this is a
Viewer
Goosebumps
beware.
podcast now,
You're in for a scare.
but we have to do the dummy episode.
The one that traumatized me.
Which one?
The one with Slappy.
There's so many. There's
The
4.
first one.
Oh, the 4. Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I didn't watch the rest of them. I'm sure I saw them later on in life, but the first one is what fucked me up.
Yeah, that was a bad one. I got scared by a lot of the mask one. Really, fucked me up.
I had that on VHS.
I was more of a "Are you afraid of the dark?" kid.
That's
A good one too.
We stand both.
Yeah, the basement episode. There's a lot of them, but me and Ed constantly quoted each other like, "Coming in, Mr. Brain, young lad." With the "What do I look like? Some type of clown?" And he's like, "Yes, definitely," which was a Jontron bit about a Goosebumps bit. Anyway,
So anyway, we're back on set, and Brendan is doing another shot at Dwayne's project. He's obviously trying to gain control of the situation. Literally everyone's ignoring him. And did you see during the rock opera, Dwayne's band's name?
Scab.
Yep.
I wrote that
Dwayne's
down.
band is named Scab. Dude, I think we should make some Scab shirts.
Yes.
The headband that Jason was wearing that said Scab on it. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really nice.
We'll do both.
I think this is also the part where Jason's getting all, he's like, why does Dwayne get to be the bug?
The bug is gross, and I like being gross, says Jason.
Didn't he say he'd be a maggot if he could be a bug?
Can I be a maggot?
So Brendan is screaming. He finally gets everyone's attention by screaming action. He was like, oh, I was starting to think you guys couldn't hear me. That's when we play I Think I'm Gonna Turn Into a Bug. Classic. Brendan yells cut and asks Dwayne if he can see him out in the sandbox. And this is the scene where he's telling Dwayne he doesn't think it's working out. He's pretty much saying that he wants permission to pick up the reins, so to speak. The entire time, Dwayne has a blank expression. Doesn't really say anything. We cut to this little quick side conversation between Jason and Melissa, where Melissa is like, oh, this is so great. And the music's so great. And Jason's like, sometimes I can't hear it. And she's like, well, you're standing close to the speakers. And he's like, yeah, because I can't hear because there's so much blood in my ears. Mm-hmm. So that's where we get the scene where he says he's been putting toothpicks in his ear.
Oh, I hated that scene.
I saw your visceral reaction to that, and I actually wrote down the hot dogs and toothpick story because I do stick things in my ear because it gets so itchy in there.
Well, Q-tips are fine.
Q-tips are soft, and it makes that weird crinkly sound when you put it in. I don't like that.
What do you put in there then?
Put anything that's like this bit long, that's like small enough to fit in there, and I'll just like itch it.
Does it hurt?
Not as bad. I do remember one time in second grade, I put a spitball in there. Couldn't get to it for like 3 days. Yeah,
Did you tell anybody about it?
My mom finally found it, and she was like, "What the fuck is in your ear?" And I was like, "Oh no, they found me!
They found my secret spitball."
The way that I viewed it as a second grader is the second that I couldn't get it out. I was like, I guess I'm just living like this now forever. There's nothing I can do about it, so I move on.
Much like Melissa, I'm going to quickly change the subject. Melissa's like, I think this is the best project we've ever worked on.
Ooh, that cut deep.
Oh, yeah. I felt that in Brendan's soul.
Yeah, she definitely said that to Brendan, and he did not like that. Actually, that's in the next scene. But Melissa says it to Jason after she changes the subject of the ear thing. And literally, she's like, I think this is the best project we've ever worked on. And Brendan comes downstairs and he's like, all right, everyone, project over. Just shuts it down and tells the regulars to report back tomorrow. So this is the scene. The next scene is in the schoolyard where they're talking about the next project. And I think that's when Melissa made that comment and it hurt Brendan.
No, I saw the look on his face. If you slow it down, you can see right here is where his heart breaks.
Yeah, he does not take that criticism very well. Jason and Melissa are both like, we want to do Kafka. We want to do Kafka. And finally, Brendan tells Jason, he's like, Dwayne's dead. We're not doing Kafka. Dwayne's dead. So they say we're going to do Louie Louie again. And Jason and Melissa are very not excited about it. Jason is like, didn't we veto that? And Brendan's like, no, we put it on the side. And he's like, well, can we bring it back up so we can veto it?
The Louis, I knew the one made Braille. What did the other Louis do?
Louis Pasteur invented the process of pasteurization of milk.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't find that interesting.
You don't think that's super interesting?
No, honestly, I would have rather just watched Jason's Louis. I think it should have just been Louis and not...
Yeah, his version of Louis Braille.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well with that.
Yeah. So we're working on Louie Louie. At one point, Brendan is like, okay, we're not going to use traditional music. Obviously, he doesn't want to, dump Dwayne in his project and then the next day be like, hey, come do all this music for my movies you've been doing this whole time for free. God, Brendan is such a dick in this episode.
I wrote it down probably 3 times in my notes. Brendan is an asshole.
You really, at this point, it's like, bro, he does your music, even if you don't like Kafka, which, holy shit, quality-wise is probably the best thing you're ever going to direct.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw the guy a bone, man. Do his project. He does music for free for you.
Dude, if anyone came up to me with an idea that I was like, oh, this is going to be good, I'd be, yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. Especially if they brought a song to it like that, I'd go for it. Yeah. Go ham.
Melissa's doing the dum diddy dum 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 diddy dum 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 diddy dum. So this sparks like a big fight between Jason and Brendan. They go back and forth, and then Jason just has like his meltdown. He screams. He yells, "Mommy!" He's like, "Mommy!"
I heard that.
And he's like, "Who said you could? Who said you could? Who said you could start it?" And Brendan's like, "I don't know what you're saying right now."
Jason was having that meltdown and just started screaming at Brendan, and I was sitting there like, "Damn, Jason's like good. Fucking call him out,
Hell
dude."
Yeah.
And then Jason did the thing where he just stopped making sense because he was, I'm assuming hungry. What was the last thing he said before he left to Brendan?
I don't recall.
What? I'm sorry. What was that?
Jason said, what was the last thing Jason said to Brendan? Like, he's like, And
Oh, he said he needs to be alone.
That's what it was.
He needs to be alone, and then he goes and watches this. Oh, Dwayne.
He was... And the thing is, he wasn't just sitting there with tears in his eyes. He had snot coming down.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
I got little tiny bug feet. I don't really know what bugs eat.
So are these 4 separate songs?
No one.
So I'm playing these off the official soundtrack, and yeah, it has them as Franz Kafka intro, turning to a bug, living like a bug ain't easy, and then the finale.
Yeah.
These last 3, turn into a bug, living ain't easy, living like a bug ain't easy, and Franz Kafka finale, like 21 seconds, 49, 16 seconds. So it all together is about 2.5 minutes.
But each is like such like a different, not style, but like it each has like a different feel. It doesn't feel like it's all one cohesive
Right. Yeah.
song in one music video.
I
So
think-
is it more of a musical?
Well, it's a rock opera, so maybe this is just kind of like this would be like a good medley of
Yeah, that
the
makes
overall.
sense.
I think honestly, if someone from Broadway or any musical could probably turn that into a musical just based off those 4 songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the tone's already there. It's really catchy in a way.
I would go watch that musical.
Oh, 100% you would.
100% yes.
I'd go with you.
So the next day, Jason and Melissa approach Brendan, and they want to do Kafka. Jason is very upset and repeats that Dwayne's not dead because he believed Brendan. Brendan tells them that they think they want to do Dwayne's project, and then that's when Jason's like, "Don't tell me what I think because that." And Brendan's like, "Insult your intelligence." He's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
But then as soon as they give any pushback, this is when Brendan is finally like, he's like, okay, well, it's been great working with you guys. If you need letters of recommendation, let's do lunch.
The problem here that the reason why I had such a hatred for Brendan this episode is because I've worked with people like this who are just like, this is my project. I want to do it this way. I don't want to do anyone else's project. And then they talk to you like they're trying to be very professional about it, but they're just being assholes.
Right.
And I loved when Melissa and Jason just walked away.
Yeah.
Good.
That was definitely the right reaction. It's when people say shit like, well, with no offense, or with all due respect, and then they just say like the most offensive, disrespectful shit.
And they think they're not being offensive.
Right. And they're like, well, I said the thing before and my tone is nice. So,
Or like they'll say respectfully and then
Right.
not be respectful after saying
yes,
respectfully.
exactly.
My favorite one is with that being said, because then that way they can say something offensive in the first part and then, or reverse. They
Yeah,
can do.
no, it's usually like, hey, here's a really nice thing and you're doing this great. With that being said, this is why I hate you.
Yeah, you guys are doing so great. I don't know how you guys do that all the time. Anyway,
Yeah. I don't know how you do what you do. Keep doing
with that being said,
it. So we have this. Let's see. Yeah, we can do this. It's a really quick scene with Brendan and Coach where Brendan is trying to Coach is bossing Brendan around. McGurk is like, well, I'm the coach and I'm in charge. And Brendan's like, oh, I could have fooled me. I kind of forgot I thought Drew was in charge. And then that's when they both have this like, it's got to look like an accident kind of idea. Brendan's is a little farther than Coach's. Brendan's involves murder, I think, somehow. Dwayne's guitar strings breaking and choking. I don't know. That part was a little weird.
Okay. I genuinely thought he was talking about Drew, like killing Drew or helping Coach kill Drew.
Coach was talking about just, framing him for something, and Brendan's like, yes, we'll do a murder, a crisscross murder. Then they talk about the director, Christopher Cross.
Throw mama from the train.
So we do have a scene with Brendan where he's a little unhinged and he's just making Louie himself, playing all the characters, doing the music. He pours milk on his head for some reason. He films the scenes. He does the voice of Melissa saying, "You're doing so great. I don't know how you do it." Then does Jason. The animation is hilarious. Like when he's doing Jason, he's like, they make him a little bit plumper.
What did he say when he was trying to be Melissa? It was just like giving him compliments?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And what did he say when he was Jason?
I think he was like, Brendan. And then he might have started saying, and that's when his mom came down.
Okay, because I did cue on Brendan's breakdown because we worked on Doorman this Saturday, and there's a lot of ADR. Adele's doing ADR for some of the actors who didn't come back. It does feel vaguely like that, just making you have to play these other people, and just the breakdown I've had working on several projects. I felt that when Brendan was just going fucking crazy.
Slowly unhinged, yeah.
It's nice to see that the mom is also still being a very supportive parent.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She is. Now, she does offer milk and cookies, and Brendan is this 1955? He's like, we're just going to solve all our problems with milk and cookies? And she's kind of like, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, for sure.
That's sound
why
logic.
Not? Yeah.
I prefer cookies and cream.
So that's Janine DeTulio's first and actually only seen this episode as Paula. But again, the voices are so similar. Like, I barely even noticed. So we have a quick scene. We see Jason and Melissa having an argument, calling each other stupid. And Dwayne and his band, Scab, are just kind of sitting off to the side. Melissa's like, what were we even arguing about? And Jason's like, I think we were arguing about who is stupider. Melissa replies that they need a camera, and Jason's like, maybe we'll just make one. Melissa's like, that's stupid. And he's like, you're stupid. And then just the cycle continues. A couple lines of dialogue before he actually comes in, you just see Brendan's nose peeking behind the tree. So he comes up and he's like, great news, I juggled around my schedule, did a little crying, and
the crying one got me.
Felt, yeah.
And he's like, I'm back. Jason and Melissa have basically no reaction. Brendan confesses he hasn't been a good role model. They're like, you've never been a role model, period. And he actually, I guess, in one moment of vulnerability, Brendan admits that the whole Dwayne situation had him feeling threatened and made him egotistical. There's a little bit of self-awareness there, but still, man.
It makes me, obviously, I did not like Brendan. I did not like watching him this episode. I feel like there's a scene with his mom that was missing. I feel like her sitting him down and like giving him like a lesson happened in between
that
scenes.
Was probably part of the milk and cookies would be my guess.
Yeah. I think that was very helpful. I wish I would have seen it because I love watching Brendan's mom just be a nice, supportive parent, but still.
Yeah. I really love this scene where it's Jason and Dwayne and they're like in negotiations with Brendan and Jason.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Brendan obviously is creative control. Dwayne, brilliant move to say, hey, listen, let me have my cut and then you have your cut, the director's cut. And like Brendan's face lights up like, yes, dude, say less. Like, seriously. But the whole thing is Jason the whole time is like, no, you got to get points.
You got to get the
points. And to the point where Melissa's like, fine, you have 17 points.
Yes, we win.
We win.
What did I tell you about the points?
Now, do you guys know what points are like in an actual negotiation it's usually with actors in movies?
Every time someone says points, I just think of Whose Line. So it's my immediate.
The points don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, the points actually do matter. It's usually, like I said, an actor or an actress, big name, will ask for points on the film, meaning a percentage. 10 points is like 10% of what the film makes. So basically points is saying, hey, I know you're not able to pay me well. I have faith in this project that it's going to make a lot of money. So therefore I'll take the smaller pay, but I want 10 points towards box office draw, whatever. So points is basically like a percentage of. Now, in this particular case, it means absolutely nothing. They're not going to make money off of this thing. So points are essentially Whose Line Is It Anyway points. But Jason, like, dude, he knew he had to get those points.
I liked Dwayne saying, I need a cut, you can have your cut. Because that probably would have saved me and Nate probably back in, I want to say February of last year, because we did Paint 2, which was the podcast we did. It was like 3 hours long. And I did a cut of mine, and then Nate did a cut after I already gave it to him, and he cut it up again. We didn't get into a huge fight, but there was like creative differences, and we waited a whole year until we finally said, just throw it out there. Who cares? It would have saved us so much time if we just posted it 2 separate places. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. And I think Dwayne is probably smarter than he's letting on in this situation. I think he understands what's happening with Brendan and his ego and his, creative control, and came up with that solution. And honestly, I think it was the right solution. It's a quote unquote everybody's happy situation.
Leading to his one line.
Well, before we do that, we have the final scene from the rock opera, which would be this one right here. Well, I guess in the soundtrack, they cut out the part where he ascends to heaven and God talks to him. In that particular scene where he ascends to heaven and meets God, we have a gnome dressed up as God.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a gnome in a white, I think in like a white robe, but they're also using like a mirror to as a light to reflect a light at the camera too.
I need to write that down.
So we see that final scene. Dwayne is ascending to heaven as a bug to meet God, and then abruptly cuts to the Louie Louie rap. Brendan and Jason do a rap about Louis Braille and Louis Pasteur. We cut away from the TV and realize Brendan and Dwayne have been watching this on Brendan's TV, and this is a cut of Dwayne's movie. Dwayne asks if this is his director's cut. Dwayne's like, so this is your cut? And Brendan's like, yes, but let me explain why this also works for your cut.
I like that little dialogue that they had with each other.
Yeah.
I feel like if Louis was a musical as well, I probably would have liked that.
Honestly, I was not on board with Louie Louie until this.
Well, I'm curing disease, helping blind people read. Don't drink that milk without talking to me.
Huh?
I'm a savior to those who can't see with their eyes. Don't mess with me, you'll get pasteurized. I'm a whack mother reading from my fingertips, doing drive-bys on the virus, keeping sickness and slip. Yeah! Louie Louie in the house. Oh yeah! Arc de Triomphe in the house.
All right, that was a little bit longer of a cut. They definitely don't cuss in the.
Yeah, I think I would have clocked that the first time.
Yeah, right.
Nate did a song called Thug Shit that sounded almost identical to that.
Shit. Where is this song?
I'll send it to you at some point. Maybe that'll be the next creative corner. But it sounded exactly like that.
Hell yeah.
Dude, that rap, it slapped. That was a good rap. Mm-hmm. If the whole Louie Louie would have been like that, maybe my opinion of it would have been a little different. We have one quick final scene. It's Coach McGurk at the school at night, and he is spray painting vandalism all over the walls.
He said Drew was here.
Drew was here, and I hate kids. He even makes a comment like, Drew was involved in the occult. So he calls the cops to be like, yeah, some guy, not me, is spray painting stuff on the side of the school, and he definitely shouldn't be working with kids. Yeah, the cops show up in 0.3 seconds. And he's like, I think he does cuss and say, I just called you. That was a quick response before he tosses the can and runs very quickly away.
Oh, he shot out of there.
Yeah, Speedy McGurk.
Speedy McGurk. I was just when you said Drew was in the occult, was he just thinking, or was he because it didn't say anything on the wall?
There was a picture of, I think it was Drew throwing kids into a fire.
Yeah, or chasing them around a fire or something like that. He might even put horns on them or something. I think he was just kind of commenting to himself oh, so Drew was in the occult.
Yeah.
And the cops showed up so quick.
Yeah.
The fastest cops have ever shown up.
Yeah, I was going to say, not even a chance.
Well, and that's the end. That is season 1, episode 6, director's cut. So we have some grades to give away here.
Give it away.
Let's start with overall episode. Who wants to go first? What's your grade?
I went first with Creative Corner.
Okay, well, I went last, so I'll go first now, even though the points don't matter. I love this episode, especially with it being the first of the Adult Swim run. I love the music in it, including the Louie Louie rap. First episode with the script, I thought flowed so nicely. This is an easy A for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not going to say an A+, but easy A for sure. Yeah.
I think I'm also going to give it an A. Any episodes where if there's a lot of music in it, I'm automatically in love with it. So that's my reason for an A.
I really liked the episode. I wanted to give it an A, and I did.
I was waiting for that being said.
But I liked watching it a lot. The Brendan was such an asshole, man. I think that was a really good episode. I think there was a lot of there's a character arc there. The well scripted for the first time, I guess. Pretty decent. Loved most of it. Loved the songs. The only thing that threw me was Drew. I was expecting him to be a little have some sort of controversy. Even what was his name, Mr. Lynch. Mm-hmm. I thought the dialogue between him and McGurk was a lot better than Drew, so that was the only thing that threw me. Drew didn't get a lot of screen time.
I was hoping Drew was going to turn out to be evil and trying to take over his job.
I was hoping for that too.
Yeah. No, I think they just needed a little
rivalry.
Yeah, that is all.
Yeah.
So that was an A from you then, Marcin?
Yep.
You got another Fonzie episode.
Arthur Fonzarelli.
The second they did the Franz Kafka, I think the opening song of that, I was like, I don't think there's a chance this is going to go south.
Yeah. What about your grade for Jason?
I actually I graded Jason for sure, but I also graded Brendan. I think I'm going to start grading both of them. I might start doing Melissa, but Melissa's just such a fun character.
She's S tier always.
Yeah, it feels that way.
She really is.
Yeah. I don't think there's an episode that I've seen so far where I was like, Melissa's kind of a dick, or she's a bad person. She seems to be kind of the straight man of the group. Mm-hmm. But so for Jason, I gave a C because, of course, he has to be gross with his snot coming out when Dwayne died.
I think the snot part, that was a bit, but that coupled with the toothpick story, I was like, okay, dude, that's a little bit too much.
The blood and the blood through me because a toothpick, I get a little toothpick in there sometime. I get itching it a little bit.
There was one part when he was talking to, and he moved his finger on his ear, and green stuff came out.
It's the infection from the toothpick.
I wanted to give him a D, but I've done the thing with a toothpick, so I can't be a hypocrite about it.
It's becoming more and more relatable for Marcin.
I don't like that.
Enemies to lovers.
He's a C, but Brendan, I gave him an F.
Hell yeah.
Because he was a dickhead the entire time.
If I were to grade Brendan this episode, I give him a D for dickhead. Mm-hmm. Just because there was that one shred of self-awareness where he's like, the situation threw me for a loop. It messed with me. It messed with my ego. The self-awareness was there. And then from a personal level, I think it's just the main actor is named Brendan Small. The writer is named Brendan Small. The character is named Brendan Small. You are putting that attached to this character with your name on the first episode of your run back. I think maybe it was a self-therapeutic thing. Maybe you know what I mean? Maybe it's something he's like, I did used to be like this when I was a kid, man.
No, I liked that of the character development. I don't like when a character is perfect. I think Brendan here was a good representation of a narcissistic filmmaker.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I've just seen so many of I've met so many, and it's my camera, the taking my ball and going home. I hate that so much.
Yep. But then go ahead.
I will say, not to stick up for Brendan or anything, but when you're to be forced to work on something you're not passionate about, I understand where he was coming from with that, just not feeling it, not passionate about it, but the way he went about it was such a dickhead move.
Well, I think especially too, not being passionate about it and then simultaneously have it, Melissa literally saying, I think this is the best project we've ever done. Mm-hmm. What a slap to the face for Brendan, because he's well, I'm just chopped liver over here.
I've definitely felt that, and I get really jealous, but I mostly want people to succeed, and the fact that he was just I don't like that this is not my project. That was the thing that was really hard to, because I've seen that so many times. I don't know how have you ever been jealous of another comedian? But
God, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But dude, it's not even they did this big show, or it's literally they wrote the perfect joke that had I been able to tell that joke, and that's usually where, or people who do that effortlessly hilarious. Mm-hmm. I'll just come over here and post some shit on my ass and be the funniest motherfucker in the room. It's dude, fuck, stop it.
The presence of some people that just show up, and I wish I could understand how to do that. At the same time, it's not that you're jealous to the point that Brendan was here with Dwayne, where he just didn't want to be a part of it because he was jealous. You want that comedian to succeed at some point.
Right. And if I was on a show with somebody like that, I definitely wouldn't be like, well, I'm going home. When I started doing stand-up, there was a lot of comedians I thought were super funny, and all it did was drive me to write more and perform more. And, you know, it's that steel sharpens steel kind of thing. You know, when you don't feel that anymore, then yeah, it's really easy to kind of get into a rut or not go out as much, not write as much. So
you'll stop being hungry and you'll stop being thirsty.
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's that whole, like, you race against faster people. Like, you'll lose every time, but your time will get better. It's like when we're painting with Adele. Like, we're just trying to get to that level.
Yep. And by the time we get there, she'll be leagues ahead of us.
Yes. A league of her own.
Okay.
Yes. League of their own on Hulu.
I'll start playing baseball.
Thank you.
You'll start playing bass?
Hell yeah. That's more likely than baseball.
Well,
The
kids,
Slammers.
I think that's going to do it for us. That is the end of the episode. Real quick, if we ever get to this point, if I see a 5-star review, I'm going to read it on the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Usually right here. So keep that in mind. Other than that, do we have anything we want to plug or promote?
Well, kids, it happened at 2 a.m. last night or this morning. I remembered, and I made an Instagram for my
Ooh.
Let's go.
What's it called?
It is called Artisanal of Oddity.
It is a good name. It is a really interesting name. Did the pressure from the podcast make you think you had to come up with something?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was originally just going to be like Adele's art. And nope. It's got to be catchy. It's got to be unique.
I really like it. Could you spell it? Because I don't think.
It has anal at the end.
Hell
If that
yeah.
helps.
It
So
does
what
now.
is it again? Just the name?
Artisanal of Oddity. Artisanal of Oddity. On Instagram.
Artisanal of Oddity. Nice. Like we're on a golf. Here
It
comes
is the Artisanal of Oddity.
Adele's coming out here with a new Instagram. It's called Artisanal of Oddity. Oh yeah, she's grabbing a. What was that? Is that a paintbrush? What type of paintbrush is it? It's a big one. Oh, and she's grabbing the green. Oh, and that's a blank canvas. Oh, we're gonna be here for a while.
Marcin, do you have anything you'd like to promote or?
Tim's like, we don't do bits here. To promote and shout out, that was the question, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, sorry. So much. We're doing so much. I love doing this podcast, but like both of us, all three of us are doing Season of the Curse 2, which is taking up a lot of my time. Don't know when it's going to be done. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I got to keep telling myself. I'm also working on Doorman, which is a project that I've been working on for close to 8 years. It's getting very close to being done. I also did a podcast called Eldritch Journeys and a mini-series called Puzzle Valley. It means the world to me. It's a high school teen detective story. TTRPG turned audio drama, has original soundtrack. I love it, and I edited it to perfection, almost. But yeah, and we're doing the sequel series soon at some point. We keep pushing it back. It keeps happening. No worries. It'll be here eventually. And also shout out to my boy, Nate Anderson, Punkin' Nonstop on YouTube, who does so many YouTube videos all of the time. He's got thousands of videos, and he's also helping me with Season of the Curse 2. It's a big project. So that's a lot of stuff to promote, but here I am.
Nailed it.
Hell
yes,
yeah.
This is just BTS. I'm doing a BTS thing.
Yeah, back to Street Boys.
Back to street.
As always, this podcast is actually brought to you by the Happy Corner Podcast. They are nice enough to let us use their studio to record. Please check out the Happy Corner Podcast. They record most Sundays. They go live on Twitch and YouTube at the Happy Corner Podcast. And then audio versions can be found wherever you find your podcast. That's going to do it for this episode of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 1, Episode 7. It was supposed to be funny. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHMpod. There you can like, follow, and subscribe. Email us or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. And thank you, Tom Traeger, for the refresh of our logo, and Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-hosts, Marcin and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.